Hey, y'all, welcome to episode 111 of Consignment Chats. If you are watching on YouTube right now, you can see with your very eyes that this is a roundtable episode. We have several gorgeous, handsome faces in the house. And today we're going to talk about, well, we go back and forth. We're going to call it giving. I know a lot of people call it giving back, but we're going with giving because we decided we haven't taken anything. We just want to give.
Yeah. Let's just go around, do a quick introduction, where you're from, and we'll go from there. So I'm Libby. I'm co-host of C Chats with Molly and Samantha, and I own Consignment. And yeah, I'm in the Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania.
And I'm Molly, co-host with Samantha and Libby, and I am in Greensboro, North Carolina, and I also work for Libby with Consignment as the North Carolina wing.
I'm Samantha. I'm the newest co-host of Consignment Chats. I'm in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and I own Sorting with Samantha.
My name's Melanie Wrench, and I'm here for a retail therapist, myself and my business and life partner. We've owned retail therapists for the last 5 years, and sadly she's not here today, so she won't be able to say hi.
We'll get her on the next one.
Oh yeah, you can hear all about her in the Spotlight episode with retail therapist.
Yes. Jason?
Hi, I'm Jason Spangler. I describe myself as a recovering public school teacher. I turned my side hustle into a full-time business, and now I sell scouting memorabilia online. My eBay store is Santee Swapper, and I have a website, scoutpatchcollectors.com. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, too.
Awesome.
Lori?
Hi, I'm Lori Johnson with K&L Resale. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm in Livermore, California.
All right.
California girl, I like it. Tiffany?
I'm Tiffany with Tiffany's Treasures and Trinkets. We do it's all consignment, and I'm in Hagerstown, Maryland.
With a cat in the background.
Yeah, that's Oreo.
And Oreo.
You can tell I love holidays.
Right. Beth?
I'm Beth Hoskinson. I own Looking Glass Consignment in Clarksburg, West Virginia.
All right. And Michelle?
I'm Michelle, Shop Daisy Avenue, and I'm also in the Lehigh Valley of Pennsylvania, and I do a little consignment, and I sell a lot of everything.
So our episode today is about giving and different ways we give through our resale business, or maybe setting up a program to resell. I know we did a giving back episode previously where I talked about how we do it with Consignment with my business, so I won't go through all of that. I'll link up the episode so you can take a look at that and how we do it. But I'm interested in how you do it and what kind of questions we have, or what's been successful, or where you are in the process. Well, I know, let's start with Melanie, because I know you just did a fundraiser, a very successful fundraiser. So would you like to talk about that and where you're headed with that with your business?
Well, we do it as it comes up, basically, when the idea strikes, and we run with it. But we've done 2 shows actually, as 2 whatnot shows as fundraisers, and the first one was over Labor Day weekend, and it was supporting a local animal shelter. And then the second one was really fun because our daughter's girlfriend that we absolutely adore, she came to every one of our whatnot shows when we were really active on whatnot, and she was all about it. She was texting us, when we're now going to go live, when's your next show? Well, they were coming in town from Portland, so Jill says, why don't we do a whatnot show for Deb for her birthday, because they were going to be here on her birthday. So I mein, you give me an idea and it just kind of blows up. That's just kind of how it works with me. So that's what we did. And I thought, well, I didn't feel right about, auctioning stuff and taking the money, and I was like, of course it should go to charity. That's always our first instinct. And so her younger brother, unfortunately, passed away from cancer when he was younger. And so St. Jude, he was, a childhood cancer. So it wasn't when he was an adult. So we just naturally picked St. Jude. And it's fun because being the nerd that I am, I like to incorporate data, when we do it. So give them hard numbers as well as stories. You want to tug on those heartstrings too, and kind of hit both sides of the brain. But it just generates a different kind of excitement when you know that you're doing it for a bigger purpose.
You were very, very successful with those. Do you have plans going forward? Are you thinking about like putting together a permanent program, or are you just going to kind of do it as the mood strikes?
Well, I don't know. We haven't really talked about it because we're kind of a little bit in transition with our business right now, but we do kind of more behind the scenes that we don't advertise a lot. We do take advantage of the eBay for Charity program and the local animal rescue, which is Hearts Alive. We were working very closely with them. When they would get the really, really high end stuff, we'll consign it for them. Now the store is closed, unfortunately, so that kind of is no longer. We still have a few things that if they sell, they'll just straight donate it. It won't go through the thrift store. But we haven't really talked about, is there going to be an ongoing thing? But I would, actually, I take that back. When we were working closely with Hearts Alive, we did talk about doing maybe a once a month or even a once a week whatnot show. But like I said, things are kind of evolving and transitioning in our business. So once we get kind of past that hump, we probably will incorporate something. And I would say maybe 10 to 15% of our listings on eBay, we do have some kind of percentage going to a charity. There's a handful of charities that, we'd love to give to. There's so many more than just a handful. It's so hard to just say, well, we're just going to give to this one. So we just kind of pick.
It's hard.
It's so hard, yeah, because we want to save the world, right?
Right. I want to ask, with your whatnot, more detail of how that process works when you're giving back through a whatnot sale, like more details on what exactly you do with it.
Well, we just kind of keep it simple at this point. I know that going forward, whatnot is working on integrating a charity feature, and I'm not sure what that's going to look like. But at this point, we just run our regular sale that we are very careful to, in our advertising before the show and then also during the show, we talk about it over and over and over. Every penny is going to go to, whatever organization it is. And then we're always giving out facts and stories about the organization to kind of, draw people in and get them a little bit more invested. And then when it's done, we just, we always say, well, this is how much we raised, because you want to follow up on what you've done, because people are invested. They want to know. And then we just go on their website and donate. That's kind of all we've done at this point.
Yep. Yeah, no need to overcomplicate it. I think that's great. Yeah. I love the idea of like incorporating, kind of both sides of it and offering facts and, stories. I think that's really, really smart. Really smart.
And it's also about bringing awareness to the organization just as much as raising dollars.
Right.
Yes.
I agree.
I definitely agree with that one. Yeah. So maybe next we could skip to Jason. We'll come back to Samantha. Kind of what has been your involvement? I know since you're so involved with Boy Scouts, I'm curious how that all ties in, because so much of scouting is giving. So
yeah, so one thing that I do is I buy collections from scouters who maybe are getting up in years and no one in their family is really interested in their old scouting stuff that they've held on to for decades and decades. And so they tend to find me on the internet and we kind of connect and, have a phone call, emails, whatever. And I generally buy their collections. But I have had, I think, 2 or 3 examples now where someone had a collection and, when I offered to buy it, they had kind of read my story and kind of knew what I was up to. And, I didn't mention this, but in the summertime, I actually take a break and I go serve as a camp director, and I run a summer camp down in Columbia, South Carolina, Camp Barstow. And so 3 times now I've had gentlemen who said, well, I'm kind of set, I'm good, I have plenty of money. Why don't we donate this money to the and you all do a project with the money. And so I've had that happen 3 times. In fact, one time actually met the camp ranger at the Lowe's down there in Columbia, and we went on an $800 shopping spree and just bought whatever he needed for projects. And I kind of made a little, video of it to send to the guy to kind of show him, yes, this is what happened with the money for your collection. And so that was kind of cool. Another guy was very old and didn't have any heirs at all, really. Had never been married, and he had a really significant collection. And so sold his collection on consignment, and then all of the consignment money, was thousands of dollars, went to the camp, and we built a building, put his name on it.
Wow.
So that's been a really cool thing that kind of like fits in with my brand and kind of what I'm all about, and I have a connection to it. But as we go through this roundtable, I'm also really curious, because I've never done this, is use the eBay for Charity system to try to, with my brand, sort of, what I'm about, supporting, youth groups in some way. And I guess I'm also kind of curious, is there like a percentage that people feel like is fair? I mean, if you're only going to give 1%, can you really say you're giving to charity? But I haven't done it. So I'm kind of curious to know from this roundtable group what people think too. So.
All right. Yeah. We'll circle back around with the questions. That's a good question.
Absolutely.
All right, Lori.
Well, speaking of the eBay charity part of the donations, I was using that for a while when I started my consignment, and I found that it was a little bit financially unavailable. Not a good idea financially at first. So for me, I'm going to have to revisit it, because now that my business is built up after 3 years, I think it would be, I'd be able to give more. And I was using it to donate to a fireman's fund charity that my nephew uses. So for me, the eBay thing is definitely something to do. And I've often thought of using a local charity. My favorite charities have to do with women's shelters. So I think that I probably would change it to get registered on eBay and do a local women's shelter, or visit them and ask them to maybe sell some things for them through that they can't normally sell through their thrift stores. That was one way that I thought I could give back that way.
Yeah, and definitely, I think Michelle's going to have some information for you on that. She'll definitely have some input on that. Right, Michelle? We'll come around to you. We'll circle back with the question.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really good. All right. Tiffany.
All right. My assistant and very good friend, Lori, had breast cancer. So that's very near and dear to our hearts, because I'm in Hagerstown, but she's in Middletown, which is the next big town for her is Frederick. That's where a lot of the hospitals and things, the medical things are in Frederick. That's where everyone goes. Well, in Frederick, just even 10 years ago, there was no treatment center for breast cancer, no real resource for people close by. Everyone would have to travel to Baltimore or DC area, outside. It was an hour away or more. People were traveling for chemo treatments an hour away. So anyway, this Hurwitz, Patty Hurwitz, got breast cancer, and she and her family started the Hurwitz Breast Cancer Fund, and they have been able to build it up and fund all these treatment centers in Frederick. So when Lori got cancer, she was able to benefit from all these treatment centers in Frederick. So we do live sales on Facebook, and I'm trying to get through this fast. And we did a live sale benefiting in October, in Breast Cancer Month. We did a fundraiser benefiting the Hurwitz Breast Cancer Fund. And, it was our first one. We made almost $400 that we were able to give to them, but we gave them all the proceeds, and anything that we sold was either donated by our consigners. They said, just go ahead and give them the money, or it was things that we bought to resell, and or things of our own that we gave to sell. So that was really good. And I think we're going to do that again this October, but I'm also think that we're going to throw in another one, maybe earlier in the spring or summer, for animals, because we also, and this, me and my two work teammates really believe in animal charities. So I think we're going to do something like that. But the breast cancer thing is really successful, and I think we're going to keep doing that every October.
Now, one of the things you did that I thought was very successful with that is you talked about on YouTube about the foundation and with the foundation ahead of the sale.
Mhm.
And Lori made that that personal connection where she
Yeah.
talked about it, where she said if they raised so much, she was going to shave her head.
That's
And
true. Yeah.
that
Yeah,
that kind of personal connection, I think when you have that, it really speaks to people.
Right. So every Friday I do a breakfast at Tiffany's, and I do it on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. And we interviewed the Patty Hurwitz from the Hurwitz Breast Cancer Fund on the breakfast at Tiffany's. So me and Lori did that with her. So that was good. And so that was the Friday before the sale. And then we also, like I said, Lori does the Sundays with Lori, and she did a video, and she said she shaved a pink heart in the back of her head because we raised so much money. So that was fun. It's fun. It's fun
And
to
I
tie
think
all
like
the
that
social
kind of
media.
ties back to what Melanie was saying about how people, you want to connect and you want the story and you want people. So, thinking of like an effective way to do that, whether it's through a YouTube interview or a personal story on your social media or however you connect with your customers can be really powerful. I think it's that personal connection that we find so much that really impacts things. Like Jason has the perfect connection with his, right? Built in, really. Beth.
Yes, we do. We give a lot just because that's who my husband really is, and we are. I do a lot with different groups, the kids dance groups, the kids scouting groups, the kids youth groups, even the schools. And we set up groups with their name, like RCB cheerleaders or dance squad. And anybody in the community can bring anything in and have that name in their bag for whatever the group is. And then we flip it so that they get 60% and we would get 40% instead of it being the other way around. And we have lots of different groups that bring things in. And we put little tags, as we put on the price tag with the gun, we put a little tag that says, this benefits a local group. And we have a list of the local groups that we do. I tell the consignors, one of my goal in consignment is keeping things out of the dump. I just really don't like the landfill. So the things we don't use that is not actual garbage, because unfortunately we get some of that, goes to, we used to, before pandemic, it used to go to a lot of the elderly people that would sell stuff on the sides of the road and have the little stands of sale stuff. A lot of them use that to help get their medicines and stuff like that. Since pandemic, they don't do it as often. But our Boy Scout troop is doing huge sales to raise money to go to the National Jamboree. So we've been giving them almost all the stuff that we don't consign. The stuff that doesn't sell, we give to our Shepherd's Corner, our mustard seed, the children's, the place that gives the clothes to the children, or the maternity, the battered women's shelter. We have the local mission can send people over with vouchers that we gave them to get outfits as they need, or just call me and tell me. I never thought about actually doing an actual fundraiser thing. We just kind of incorporated it into our daily, what we do. I kind of like that idea. My head's going 1,000 miles, and I've never heard of Whatnot before I found you guys and started listening to all the back issues of things mentioned, or that I've never heard anything about doing the fundraisers on eBay. So this has been really interesting to me, of things I need to go find out now. More homework.
Oh, I love the way you have that just so naturally incorporated into your business and everything. I
want to throw
I think some of the stuff that we had done when we talked about in the previous episode that Melanie and I had done in the storefront might be applicable to you, like when we would do the sidewalk sale, where
that's what I was just getting ready to say.
Yeah.
I want to throw in that idea to Beth that, those items that didn't sell that you're saying you turn around and donate to other places. What we could do with those items is a $2 once a month sidewalk sale for a specific charity, and put it all out, everything the same, $2, and every penny goes to whatever that charity is that highlighted during that sale.
That'd be a good way to try that.
And then if it was for the Boy Scouts, what we would do is we would have the Boy Scouts come in and set up a stand and talk about what they do, like, hey, this is benefiting us. Thanks for your support. This is a little bit about what we do. And the organizations really loved that as well as much as we did.
I love all that you do.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
All right, Michelle.
Hi.
Hi.
Well, so I have currently what I do is because it's kind of an isolating experience being a reseller, right? Got involved with my local, I live in a small town, very rural, and there's a charity in town that's run by one of the local churches that I'm not a member of, but it's all older volunteers. It's completely volunteer run. And they give back to not only the community, but national causes and international causes. And so I volunteer there. And the nice thing about that as a reseller, I get, to pick first. But in order to pay back, I sell things for them. So if something comes in that is, going to be better on eBay, for example, then I'll put it on eBay for them. Now, if it's something that's larger than that I don't want to ship, like for example, there was just a Fender Stratocaster guitar and a big snare drum, like a 1940s snare drum. I don't want to ship those. So I took those to a local auction company that I work with on and off, cataloging for them, and get them a discounted rate to have it put into their online auctions.
Nice.
And so then if they sell it outside of the area, then they have to ship it, not me. But I have experience with eBay for giving because when I had my larger eBay account that I sold, I did a lot of cars. And so I did a few auctions for cars. For example, I did one where we sold a Dale Earnhardt NASCAR that was benefiting a little girl in Arkansas that had a devastating injury accident, and she needed all sorts of surgeries. And the people that were donating the car, it was, it gets to be very complicated. So in those cases, I did set them up with their own eBay account. And then because it was a newer eBay account, then I also had them hire a PR company to drive traffic because, social media can only do so much for something as specialized as like a literal NASCAR race car. Those kinds of things would turn out pretty well. Like,
cool. We're gonna cycle back around with the eBay for charity. Let's hop up to Samantha.
I have never used the eBay for charity. I've really only done a couple small things here. I used to pre-COVID have a separate from my business big charity event where we would have a big craft show and we'd have like 70 vendors, and I did that. So that was a total separate thing in my life. And I've done a couple small ones for the local animal shelter and a couple little local things here, but I'm just soaking this all in and trying to think about how I'm gonna do my next one and get some consignor accounts going. And I love all these ideas.
Yeah, I think it's super simple to just register a consignor account, have it ready, and if they come to you and say, hey, can you do this? And you're all set.
I have one more thing. I just remembered. We have a rescue mission here right down the street. It's called the Hope Center Rescue Mission. And we've started taking anything that we can't sell or anything that's, been listed too long that we pull down or whatever. We've been taking everything there. And they actually have a residential thing for homeless people, but they also try to get them into homes. So another thing we did personally, and this is always a good thing to keep in mind, is we got new suitcases for our family last year when we traveled on vacation. So we had all these old suitcases. So I started filling the donations in a suitcase and taking the suitcases. And we heard back from them and saying that they love the suitcases because
bags and
people going,
yeah,
they have these people moving into homes and they don't have anything to put their stuff in. So they love that. So, and we also save all of our grocery bags and take them over there because they always need bags because they have a thrift shop with the rescue mission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I want to mention this before we talk about eBay for charity. One of the things that Beth mentioned was that, and we would see this in the store a lot when somebody had a fire or something, people would just come in with like random bags of donations and overwhelm the families. Maybe it wasn't wasn't their size, maybe it wasn't what they needed, and it got to be very frustrating for the families receiving these donations, because of course they're super grateful, right? They're just very happy the community is supporting them, but they're not being supported in a meaningful way. So what Beth said with the vouchers, or a way for them to shop your inventory for free and select the sizes or the bedding or whatever they want, to have that voucher is very, what would you say? It's like shopping with dignity, I'll say.
Yes.
Allows them to shop and select what they need, as opposed to, not saying like don't stop donating, that's not what I'm saying, but you know, like keep that top of mind, is maybe if you hang on to your inventory, giving a family in need or a person in need a voucher to kind of shop your store or an online thing can be a wonderful thing to do with those excess items, and not overwhelm them when they're already dealing with usually so much.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. All right, Melanie. So it sounds like you're one of our big users of the eBay for charity. I personally have never used it because we have our own, thing we do with the business. Do you want to touch on that a little bit and tell us about how that
Yeah, I can tell a little bit about it. So in 2000, well, we started even before because we just kind of have a heart for giving, but we really learned a lot about it in 2017 when I went to eBay Open. And the session that I went to is probably out there somewhere on YouTube. If not from the 2017, then from the last couple of years where they've been virtual, I'm sure there's a session out there that can give you a little bit more information, but it's really easy. And there's so many. You go in and in your listing itself, it's not a store setting, it's in each listing itself. As you're listing, you'll choose which charity you want, and you can choose which percentage. The lowest percentage you can go is 10%. And you'd be surprised, there's a lot of charities in there that I didn't even know. And I think it's also easy to add charities. I think you just submit I think you can do it. If not, then maybe, just talk to the organization, but I think anybody can submit, I think.
I
think I've heard that too.
They can, they just have
Okay.
to provide whatever.
Yeah.
They have to have the tax,
their net federal number or whatever, the 501c3, whatever it happens to be.
which is public.
But I do what?
Which is public record. I mean, you can find that.
Oh.
Any nonprofit will have it on their website.
Okay.
There, if anybody wants to do one.
And there was a statistic in the 2017 session that I went to. There was an interesting statistic. They said there's a 25% higher conversion rate when you're utilizing eBay for charity for your listings, which is, to me, is kind of a chunk. That's 25% higher conversion rate. I'll take that all day long.
Is that better than promoted listings?
Well, that's what I'm
Right.
thinking. Is that better to do than promoted listings?
Possibly. Yeah. I never thought of that, because you're
I'd rather be doing a charity than a promoted listing.
Molly, that is brilliant. And that being a numbers girl, I think that would be a fantastic experiment.
Let's figure that out.
All right, you're on it, Melanie. Report back.
Yeah. Right. Okay. I've got to go bulk. I'm sorry, guys. I got to go. I got to bulk edit everything. I'll go back to in 6 months with numbers. We'll see how it went. Oh, wow. That is not, okay. When something hits you and you get chills and you get super excited and you're distracted, you're on to something, Molly. We're doing it. Now what were we talking about? What am I supposed to say next?
Girl, you're talking about setting up your eBay charity so that we can learn about it.
Yes. So there's all kinds of different organizations.
Every item?
No, well, it can be if you want to. There's as many people as there are in the world. That's as many business models as there can be, for resellers. But if you want to, now for us, we don't. I would say maybe, I don't know, honestly, 10 to 20%, and then of that 10 to 20%, it's broken out over probably 3 or 4 different charities. And then once it gets, and then it's your hands off after that. So you choose which charity you want, somebody buys it, and eBay does the rest. So it goes into a little fund and then they pay it out. And they'll just, and you actually will get, the benefit of it, because every day I get a little email from PayPal or whatever, however much money was paid to eBay for charity. So it's all documented there. And yeah, it's great because there's a million moving parts to this business. I don't need any more, just do it for me.
So Nancy, I don't want to get too in the weeds, but I just have a question. So if you do it per listing, so it's not part of your business policies, like you would literally do like a bulk edit on your listings and say, I want to add charity to these?
Yeah, you could do it in a bulk edit feature. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So then you get the credit for your taxes?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Wow.
Lori's been nodding her head the whole time, and I was wondering if you're just good, like I nod sometimes, but I
do nod for everybody.
I think
I do nod for everything because I want people to know I'm listening and I'm hearing what they're saying. But also, I had an epiphany. Everything she's saying is spot on from my experience when I first started this. And also, two things. One, 10% is typically what a lot of my listings end up being when I promote them, just because of the nature of what I'm listing. So 10% being the minimum and being a charity is almost better. Like you say, there's a benefit to a charity, as well as you're getting more exposure, 25% more exposure. That's a heck of a lot more. Also, I just had an epiphany as a consignment seller. I could use this as an option for my clients. What charities would you like some of your portion to be donated to?
100%.
That just makes your business that much better when you say we also have a charity option where you can, I like that.
Choose which charity. And I have 15 different clients, so I can have 15 different charities, or they can say, I don't think I'd want to get as detailed as this item to this charity and this item to that charity. Although if it were a big enough ticket item, I think it would be worth it. But you definitely could go to 15 different charities wherever your clients want to go.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So, Jason, did you use eBay for the eBay for charity? I forget what you said.
No, I haven't. I've never used it. I was curious to ask Melanie. I thought I knew from maybe listening to too much eBay radio or something that there's actually some discounts or rebates for your selling fees if you use the charity, or am I getting that wrong?
No, I think they waived the final value fee, don't they?
I think there is. I cannot give you the specifics on that, but I think you're right. I'm one of those really bad resellers. I never look at my invoice from eBay. I'm just blow and go. I don't worry about it. But I think I do remember that there is an incentive on that end as well.
I think I remember something like that.
Final value fee, unless I'm getting confused with the eBay partner network. But
I don't know. I trust you on that, Libby. I don't know.
I don't know.
Lori has the feeling too. So the three of you feel that way. I'm going, yeah.
All right.
And if it's not real eBay, you should make it real, because we all have a feeling.
Yes, because we have a feeling.
I think you're gonna have to get somebody from eBay, because I really want to know the answer on what the improved conversion rates are right now, and if they have statistics on that. I'm gonna hound somebody at eBay.
I think we should.
Yeah, that was 5 years ago that I heard. So who knows? But yeah, for sure, it was. At the time, it was said that it is a 25% higher chance of converting.
I have heard that they rank higher in the algorithm. So yeah, yep.
Awesome.
Melanie,
It's essential for anybody to do it.
Does it have like a little badge or anything that a buyer would know as they're scrolling and scrolling and scrolling that it's a eBay for charity listing?
Oh,
I'm shop. Yeah,
yes.
You see it. That it'll say this is a charity or
Yes.
Yeah.
So you see the badge as you're scrolling, but then as you go into the listing, there actually is there is a description of each charity, that goes along with the charity, and it's in a little field. I don't add it into my description. It just automatically gets added once I select that charity. Mm-hmm. And so there is more explanation and details for the customer.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know any of that. That's great.
All right.
Maybe go check it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow up on some of that as well and update. In a
Gosh,
future
I'm feeling a second meeting coming up on this, another roundtable.
Yeah, in 6 months when Melanie has results.
Yeah. Hey, I got those numbers. I got them, guys. I'm gonna tell you. Yeah, my conversion rate today is my conversion rate in 6 months. Yeah.
There we go.
I can confirm the discount. I just pulled up the charity option. It says receive a donation receipt and a discount on your final value fees of any equal percentage.
Oh, so if you give 10%, you get 10% off your final value fee.
That's what it sounds like, yeah.
That's saying?
That's what it sounds like to me.
A little tit for tat. Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
All right, that makes sense. Not as good as free, but okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure no matter what, you still have to pay the processing fee.
Oh,
Since they get you for sales tax, shipping, and the final, they get all of that in the processing fee. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
all right. Well, I think this was a good round table. What time? What are we? I don't know where we are.
About that time, yeah.
1:40.
Okay. Oh, perfect. All right. Well, we have a couple things to follow up on here. We have some good starts on charity. We have some things we're implementing. If anybody's listening on podcast, hop over to YouTube, drop a comment, let us know if you know something we don't about that conversion rate. Save us the trouble. eBay, if you're watching, yes, just give us information.
See, Melanie's thinking there is no trouble. She's actually pumped to go do this.
Yeah,
I'm doing it. I'm ready. I'm doing it. Yeah.
I want to
mean,
know real
anything.
quick before we say goodbye, how many people are leaving this meeting with something new they want to think more about to implement?
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah.
That was across the board. If you're listening on podcast, that was across the board.
Now let's go get to work.
I know, that's a successful meeting, friends. So we always end our meetings with a little, our episodes with a little cheer, a little toast. Whether you have a beverage next to you or not, you can pretend. But as we say goodbye, until next time, y'all, cheers.
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 here's
Thanks for joining Libby, Molly, and Samantha, the ladies of Consignment Chats, as we build a resourceful community of collaborative resellers. Find all the ways to connect with us on consignmentchats.com. Episodes are available on YouTube and anywhere you get your podcasts. In addition, join our free private Facebook community.